Countryman said, Massachusetts, a state I've never been in but have been to the border of. Boxer Swan Sway said, ZZZ. Countryman said, I've been all around it LOL. Connecticut, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire. But never in Mass. Nightbot said, help Mr. G with a donation through Stream Elements. https://streamelements.com/mrg_live/tip. MRS Mermaid said, "Hi there countryman and Spoxer. Countryman said, "Hey Mrs. J, hope your Monday was well." Tap out King _ 86 said, "Hi." MRS Mermaid said, "At countryman, I hope yours is going well, too. Mine was busy and good. Smiley face." MRS Mermaid said, "Hi at tap out King _ 86. Countryman said, "Yup. Mine was productive. I stocked up on booze cause tomorrow's supposed to be an absolute mess here in New Jersey. Possible snow, but most likely mix and rain." Nike said, "You can send Mr. G, Moses, and Keanu packages to 1170 Nuuanu Avenue, PO Box 37305, Honolulu, Hawaii 96823. Stream Elements. Said. The new merch is here, PogChamp, check it out. https://merch.streamelements.com/mrg_live. MRS Jake Mermaid. Said. Oh wow, that is crazy. Stay cozy and safe out there at Countryman, we had a big hailstorm today. Tap out King_86. Said. Iris Jake Mermaid.
Hey Google, pause. Hey, play that, you know what I want to hear. Hey, pause. Hey Google, pause. Play that Mr.G shit.
Countryman. Said. The storm itself is massive. It's snowing in Washington, D.C. right now. The storm stretches all the way back to Memphis.
Mr.G, he's your average teacher on ILO Street. Mr.G, Mr.G, he's your average teacher on ILO Street. Vacation, a boy white Levi's covering his feet. Covered them.
My family in SoCal got a lot of snow.
Mr.G, Mr.G, he's your average teacher on ILO Street. Mr.G, he's your average teacher on ILO Street. He's your average teacher on ILO Street. Mr.G, he's your average teacher on ILO Street. Mr.G,
I am Mr. G. Welcome to my class. I'm seeing things in triple and double.
MRS Jake Mermaid. Said. Aloha.
Aloha. I am your teacher. My name is Mr. G. What's that noise? Oh, hey, hold on. Okay. Yeah, hey everybody. We have a great class for you today. Hey Google, Volume 2.
Countryman. Said. DR Goggles.
Hey Google.
_dress Said. Nice shirt. Does it come in men's sizes?
Yeah, it does. It's when women or men can wear this shirt. Well, these glasses are like really tripping me out. They're making me like trip on acid. These are crazy. These were Britain's glasses. They're like, what is that called when you see the thing, Wow, where did the time go? I mean, I wake up early, but there's never enough time in the day, is there? So, hey Google, play Mozart.
MRS Jake Mermaid. Said. Kaleidoscope.
Kaleidoscope, that's the word I was looking for. Well, I can't do that with that. Whew, all right. Costumes going down. I can't teach with the kaleidoscope glasses.
Said.
How is everybody today? You always want to button these shirts, by the way. I am Mr. G. I am your teacher. Today we're going to be learning about Massachusetts. It's a good state. It's one of the oldest states in the United States. I'll try to keep today's lecture. I'm doing good, thank you, Mrs. J. I'm well. I took the weekend off. Did some cleaning, catching up on some thinking, stuff of that nature. Looking forward to an exciting week this week. Today we're going to be learning all about Massachusetts. I'll keep today's lecture at about an hour. I understand it's Monday, so a lot of you might have a case of the Mondays. Really, Monday is no different from Friday or Saturday or Sunday. Those days are named by humans. There's no significance. They could have, instead of 7-day weeks, they could have any number of days of weeks that divide evenly into 365, right? Or 52, actually, right? Or 12, right? Anyways. Regardless of the fact, there's no difference between Monday or Sunday or Saturday. It's all a construct. But we do have a great week of classes here planned for you. Each class is going to be at this time. A little bit earlier. I was running a little late today. Why does it keep on moving so far?
Moses and Keanu packages to 1170 New Wanu Avenue, PO Box 37305, Honolulu, Hawaii 96823.
We're going to turn that off for a second. Okay, so today we're going to be learning about Massachusetts. Tomorrow on Tuesday we're going to learn about Connecticut. Wednesday we're going to learn about the nation's smallest state, Rhode Island. Thursday we're going to learn about New Hampshire. And Friday we're going to learn about Maine. Next week, on Monday, I believe the first day of February, we have Vermont. And then on Tuesday, February 2nd, we have Pennsylvania. February 2nd is Groundhog Day, so we're going to be learning all about Pennsylvania and Punxsutawney Phil.
Sweet.
But yes, Vermont's going to be 1 week from today, and Countryman was very helpful in gathering a lot of the slides and information that I'm going to be using for the Vermont lecture. So, I hope everybody had a really Well, it looks like we effed for a second there. Let me, go.
MRSG Mermaid. Said. At question mark. MRSG Mermaid. Said. Back.
Yeah, that was odd. It did that just for a second, huh? Well, 1 second. Let's see if I can do something. Okay. So, once again, we're learning about Massachusetts. It's one of the oldest states in the United States. Boston was founded in 1630. That's a year. All right, Boston, they're known for their accent. Boston is 390 years old. It's one of the oldest cities in the United States. The United States became a country in the 1700s. Boston's been around since the early 1600s. So it's a very, very old city. The Salem witch trials happened in the 1600s as well. Those happened in 1692, 1693. Salem, Massachusetts is a popular tourist destination, and they really try to exploit that dark era of human history where innocent people are accused of being witches, and it's an example, a psychological example of groupthink, and how humans are generally, the majority of them, will follow the crowd, right? But anyways, Salem, Massachusetts, Boston, Massachusetts is the capital of Massachusetts. Normally the largest city isn't the capital, but in the case of Massachusetts, Boston is the capital. Boston is the most intelligent state in the United States. It's the most educated state in the United States. In Boston city limits alone, there are 65 major colleges and universities. It's the smartest state. It's also the most liberal state by far. I didn't get a picture of Elizabeth Warren in the slideshow today, but Elizabeth Warren, she's not actually from Massachusetts. Hey Google, turn it down a little bit. But Massachusetts, it's one of the most educated state in the nation. They're big on education. They have, 50% of everybody in the state have a college that went to college at least. There's a high liberal community college in Maryland, and there's also Harvard, the nation's oldest university, which I have the Harvard seal on the board today, as well as the University of Massachusetts seal and the professional football team New England Patriots old logo, which is so similar to the UMass logo. But yes, it has a lot of history. There's 5 schools in the middle of Western Massachusetts. They're called the College Consortium. UMass is one of those 5 schools. The other 4 schools are some of the nation's top liberal arts college, is what they're usually called. And they cost more than other colleges. I suppose they give a better education, but it's more like being in the it school. That these schools, they're well known, but mainly among the highbrow WASP elites of the United States, especially on the East Coast. These schools are Amherst, Smith, UMass is the only public school of those 5, Hampshire, and Holyoke. And those 5 schools are some of the top 5 liberal colleges in the country. I mentioned Harvard University, which is in Cambridge, Massachusetts. But then there's also Tufts, which is an Ivy League school. I've known some graduates from Tufts University here in Hawaii. I can't say that we were friends, but we worked together, I could say, at a farm. But yeah, they are an Ivy League school, and they are located in Massachusetts' capital city, Boston. The Boston city limits, there's only about 800,000 people. But the Boston metro area, there's 4.6 million people. You see that a lot in a lot of major city areas around the United States. First one that comes to mind is Portland. The actual city limits of Portland is probably under 1 million. But when you add in Gresham and Vancouver, Washington, and the areas surrounding Portland, then the metro area, or on Friday we studied New York. Now the actual city population of the city of New York City as it's pronounced, is like 2 million, 3 million I believe. Or no, it's 9 million, what am I saying? Yeah, it's like 9 million. But the New York's metro area, which includes Newark and Jersey City, that's about 18 million. So the numbers differ greatly. Speaking of New York, Boston is the rival for New York in all the sports and in general. Boston, it's known to have some of the best sports fans. The Boston Celtics, the Boston Bruins, the New England Patriots, and the Boston Celtics. They're known to be very dedicated. And I guess in general, Boston has a real sense of community that a lot of people don't have. Seattle has the Seattle Freeze, where if you're not from Seattle, then they'll give you a hard time. But Boston is like, you're from there, you're really Boston proud. Yeah, that's an expression. But also that has to do with the bombing as well, but the tragedy that happened at the Boston Marathon a few years ago. Boston, unfortunately, has the second highest suicide rate in the United States, only behind New York. So that's something. They're the smartest state in the nation. They're the most liberal state in the nation, and they have the second highest suicide rate. A lot of people know movies that are set around Boston. If you're from South Boston, you're known as a Southie. Southeast, South Boston. Famous movie with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. What's the name of that movie? See, there's too much to get everything into every class, you know. But that's a great movie, and the name slips my mind. But anyways, it's one of my favorite movies. I'll think of it at some point during the class. So, some more things about Massachusetts. It's in New England. It's the best, biggest, most populous New England state. In general, it's 15th in population in the United States. But it's the 7th smallest state, so it's a pretty small state. They're known to have bad drivers. They're known to be kind of rude. There's 4 seasons there. They have fall, summer, spring, and winter. They're known for their accents. Some good things, they have some of the top healthcare and schools in the United States. Not just the colleges, but the public school system is known as a really highly credible, highly... they have good schools in the city of Massachusetts.
Boston High
yeah, Boston is it's known for their top schools. Like I said, it's a very educated place. They had the very first park in the United States. They had the first subway in the United States. They had the first lighthouse in the United States. And they had the first library in the United States. One of the very first colonies, English colonies in the United States, was Plymouth. That was also in the 1600s. And, you know, a small celebration with some Native Americans in the area led to the holiday we know as Thanksgiving.
So many firsts.
Yeah, they have a lot of firsts. I've talked about Boston. Thank you. It's one of my favorite colors. I've talked about Boston, so I've talked about in Western Massachusetts with the College Conservatorium. What else? Talk about a little bit more about the Bay State before we go into more. Boston has a lot of nicknames. There's the Pilgrim State, the Bay State, the Black Bean State, the Old Colony State, the Codfish State, Taxachusetts is a good one, and also the Land of Mass Holes. That's one. The British are coming is what Paul Revere would say. I'm not sure what the logo is. Hey Google, Volume 9. Hey Google. Hey Google, what's the logo for the state of Massachusetts?
Sorry, I don't have any information about that, but I found something related. Do you want to know what the symbol is for Massachusetts?
Country man.
Sure.
Said.
On the website sec.state.ma.us, they say, the black-capped chickadee was adopted as the state bird by the Massachusetts legislature on March 21, 1941. It is also known as the titmouse, tomtit, and the dickeybird, and it is one of the most familiar of the North American birds.
Hey Google, pause. Yes, the state bird of Massachusetts is the black-capped chickadee.
Said. Okay then, Google.
So the Google wants us to talk about the state bird apparently. So the black-capped chickadee is the state bird of Massachusetts. And what do you want? What can I tell you about that bird? Well, I do know a little bit about that bird. That bird does not migrate. That bird, it doesn't mind cold temperatures. The black-capped chickadee, if I didn't have a freaking freak picture of it, which I don't have a picture of it. So, how could I not have a freaking picture, man?
Country man. Said. I have chickadees all over my bird feeder almost every day.
That's nice. Well, I'll tell you about it. The chickadee is a very friendly bird. Like I said, it doesn't migrate. It can actually eat out of your hand. They're very friendly birds. They love bird feeders, and they don't mind humans at all.
Countryman said, yeah, they aren't shy either. They'll fly right up to you.
Yeah, they'll fly right up to you.
Said, the new merch is here, PogChamp, check it out. https://merch.screamelements.com/mrg_live. Nis Fornades said, very sociable bird, nice.
Yes, it's a very sociable bird, and it's the state bird of Massachusetts, the black-capped chickadee. And if you want to know how to spell black-capped chickadee, I know, because I had to spell it when I made out the slide. But for whatever reason, the slide didn't come through. I don't know. Anyways, I'll show you what a black-capped chickadee is some other day. Okay. Boston, Massachusetts, I should say, is known for their thick accents. Boston is the majority of the state. Like I said, the metro area of Boston is 4.6 million. They're 15th in population, but there's only 6.8 million. There's less than 7 million people in Boston. So the majority of the people live in the Boston metro area. Then there's the western part that has a lot of liberal arts schools. And then there's Springfield. Springfield, Massachusetts is where basketball was invented. There's the Celtics logo. It's where James Naismith invented the game of basketball. It's also where you can find the Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts. It's also where you can find the highest crime rate in the state as well. The second largest city behind Boston is Worcester, Massachusetts, which has less than 200,000 people. So it's not like that's a big city either. So the majority of Massachusetts, I should say, is, smaller towns, I would say. Salem, Massachusetts, we talked about that, population about 40,000. Plymouth, Massachusetts, we talked about that, population 60,000. The wealthier areas are on Cape Cod, places like Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket.
Countryman.
Tourist places where you can get some of the best seafood in the United States. We'll show you some seafood. Worcester is known for a lot of forests. There's a lot of forest in the state of Massachusetts.
Mr.G.
They have free health care in Massachusetts. Essentially, it's free health care. The wealthiest do pay a premium. However, for the vast majority of people, you don't have to pay an arm and a leg for health care if you make, I think it's under the medium income, which is something like 80,000 or something like that. So if you make less than 70 or 80,000, you do get free health care. They do have a high narcotic use. They're 8th in the United States with narcotic drug overdoses. And that's surprising considering that weed is legal there. Generally, if they legalize marijuana in states, the narcotic use tends to go down. But in Massachusetts, one of the very first states to legalize recreational marijuana, the rate of drug overdoses continues to rise, unfortunately. Some other industries besides heroin is computer manufacturing. They're top in the United States with industrial manufacturing. That includes computer manufacturing, chemical manufacturing, and food processing. Foods that you can buy from there, I don't really know what they process. Boston baked beans are really common. They're sweetened with molasses and flavored with pork or bacon. Not a big fan. I'm trying not to eat any pork products.
Countryman said, everyone from New York City goes up to Great Barrington for pot because of the dispensaries. New York is foolish. They lose out on millions of dollars a month.
Interesting.
Ms.
Thanks.
Fornades said, lot of positive things going for Massachusetts.
Yeah, I would say they do have a lower crime rate, even in the city of Boston. They do have a lower crime rate. Surprisingly, Boston doesn't even lead their country in their their state
MRSJ Mermaid.
in crime. It's third in gentrification
I
in
don't
the
know
United
as
States.
much about the East Coast, so this is interesting.
There's a lot of gentrification in Boston. Maybe that's why there's a low crime rate.
The new merch is here. Check it out.
What else? Like I said, there's a lot of colleges. Boston itself is the 25th largest city, and that's just the metro area. I mean, not the metro area, that's just city limits, it's 25th largest. So yeah, I guess we should try to bring up some down points. Like I said, they have a high rate of drug usage. There's a lot more property crime compared to violent crime. It's known to be very liberal. I don't know, that could be a good thing depending on your political football. What else? They have a lot of history there. It's bad, terrible winters. It's like they have had some of the worst New England winters. You hear about it. I don't know why people have lived there so long. But yeah, there's a lot of history. Paul Revere riding through the streets of Boston yelling the British are coming. There was the Boston Massacre, which happened.
This tornadoes. Said. Or stream crashed.
Yeah, I don't know why it's back again now.
This tornadoes.
We're streaming in 1080.
Okay, we're good.
I'm using a business executive internet. We're streaming in 1080, and I have I have 5 professional light bulbs that I'm using. That each light bulb costs like $40. So if you're watching this on YouTube, shout out to you on YouTube. Don't be a hater. Give it a thumbs up. And check us out live. We're live on Twitch right now. In the background you hear Countryman, Mrs. J, and some of the classroom regulars. You're welcome to join this class. We do this Monday through Friday. Each day is a new state. Once I'm done with the states, we're going to start with U.S. territories. Once I'm done with those few territories, we're going to do the 46 U.S. presidents. So a lot of fun things lined up every day at 12 o'clock Hawaii time. So if you're on the West Coast, that's 2 o'clock. And if you're on the East Coast, it's 5 o'clock. If you're in the middle of the country, it's 3 or 4 o'clock. So early afternoon, you can catch Mr. G live here on Twitch. And then the replay is on YouTube right afterwards. So I'm going to do some gardening during today's replay, so I won't be during the chat during that replay. Speaking of gardening, some things that grow well in Massachusetts and New England are cranberries, sweet corn. Hay is their #1 product because a lot of things don't grow there, and so they need hay for feed to feed the chickens and the goats and the cows, because even if it's cold, you can still have livestock, right? Other things that grow well there is kale, lettuce, broccoli, eggplant, and tomatoes.
Global warming has changed it a lot the past 20 years, especially living up in Vermont too, I could tell.
Yeah, interesting.
This tornadoes. Said. Do they have any elevation there? Like mountains? I have no clue. LMAO.
Hey Google, volume 10.
Said. Help Mr.
Hey Google, what's the highest elevation in the state of Massachusetts?
https://s3elements.com/.
3,491 feet. According to Wikipedia, this is a list of some of the mountains in the U.S. state of Massachusetts, including those in the mountain range known as the Berkshires. Mount Greylock is the highest point in the state at 3,491 feet in elevation.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So, yes, thank you, Google, thank you, and thank you for the question. So, Google here brought up the Berkshires. Now, the Berkshires are a very wealthy area up in the mountains of Massachusetts. Just the name Berkshire brings out the old cocky accent, huh? That English cockney accent. No. Now, the Berkshires are actually a very wealthy area of Massachusetts with a higher elevation. They're actually in the Appalachian Mountains, but don't call them mountain people. because that's where the most wealthiest people are. There's very wealthy homes there as well. It seems like there's a lot of wealth in Massachusetts. It has one of the highest GDPs of any state. And relatively speaking, with the population of 6.8 million, it's pretty impressive. The Berkshires is an example of a wealthy, crime-free area with a lot of mansions and a lot of nice houses. Gentrification, like I said, is popular there.
I wish I had Berkshire stock. LOL.
Berkshire stock. That's the one that Warren Buffett liked. Yeah. But then on Cape Cod, I mentioned is where Martha's Vineyard and what's the other one called Nantucket. So those are some of the more wealthy, wealthiest parts of the United States, actually. All right, so I think we covered everything. I'm going to go ahead and start the slideshow. If we have any questions, I didn't mention MIT. It's one of the top technical colleges in the country. MIT is located in Boston, as well as Boston University. Harvard is in Cambridge. You guys ever heard that show, The Car Talk? They don't play it anymore. I think one of the guys passed away. But these two old guys that used to do the show, even if you don't like cars, there was an awesome show on NPR. It was called Car Talk, and they did the show from right next to Harvard University in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And they had the thick Boston accent. But I hope you guys enjoyed that segment, and now we're gonna start the food part. How you like them apples? I just have to say that. All right. So I should have waited to the end, right? Okay. Now let's start the presentation.
Isn't it kind of creepy how Harvard is built in a town called Cambridge, after Cambridge? LOL.
Oh yeah, that is interesting, huh? And Cambridge is like the top school in England. So, some fun facts about, there's the state motto about Massachusetts. Well, the motto is, by the sword we seek peace, but peace only under liberty. And that's how they say it, too. Massachusetts has the 15th largest population in the United States. Yeah, I already told them that. Basketball and volleyball were both invented in Massachusetts. The first subway, I told them that. Boston is I told them that. Nickname, I told them that. There are only 14 counties in the state of Massachusetts. Interesting. Yeah, can we get to the foods? Hold your horses. Let's get some more fun facts in here.
Fast food Subway, or Subway.
Subway, not fast food Subway. So, Massachusetts was the first colony to allow slavery. Interesting. John Winthrop was the first governor. Boston was the first and still is the capital. And it became a state February 6, 1788. Wow.
Countryman.
Well, why is it called Massachusetts?
Now that I didn't know.
Well,
colony with slavery.
The reason it's called Massachusetts is because Native Americans who originally inhabited the area, they were called the Massachusetts. It means the people who live near the big hill. Oh, what's your state's name? Oh, I live in people live near the big hill. Now, we talked about the oldest university in the United States, which is Harvard. It's pronounced Harvard. Harvard University, located in Boston, was the first university in the United States of America. It is considered one of the best schools and known as the Ivy League. You want to know some facts about Harvard? Well, it's not on the board here, but there's only been one Harvard graduate to play professional basketball in the National Basketball Association. Yeah. And this guy, he's the only one to graduate from Harvard and play in the NBA, and he's also the only Asian American ever to play in the NBA, right? And that guy is Jeremy Lin. Jeremy Lin, Harvard graduate. Only Harvard graduate ever to play professional basketball in the NBA. All right, continuing on with our wonderful facts of Massachusetts. So, people from Massachusetts are called Bay-Starters. I didn't know that. Chocolate chip cookies were invented in Massachusetts. Everybody knows that. Well, what's the state tree of Massachusetts? The American elm is the state tree of Massachusetts. Oh, okay, well that's nice. Well, what's the state flower of Massachusetts? Didn't we already go over the state flower? No, Mr. G, we didn't. And you didn't show me a picture of that little black-capped chickadee bird either. Okay, I don't know where that picture went, but I'll show you the state flower. The state flower of Massachusetts is the trailing arbutus. Trailing arbutus. Yes, indeed. The state insect of Massachusetts is the ladybug. And here at the top of the screen, you can see part of a ladybug.
Pretty weird name though.
So, yes, in 1891, Dr. James Nesmith invented the game of basketball using a peach basket in the town of Springfield, Massachusetts. It was a cold winter day, and they needed a game to play indoors because their little toesies were cold. And they couldn't play football, they couldn't play soccer, they couldn't play golf. It's too cold. So they invented basketball. Something else about the state of Massachusetts, they were the first state in 2004 to legalize same-sex marriage. That rainbow signal there. Oh, wow. $100. Woo-hoo. Whoa, I'm falling over. Whoa. All right, I'm okay. Yeah. Woo-hoo. What's that up there? Thank you so much. Laura Eclipse. Everybody subscribe to Laura. She's a nice person. Out of all those streamers that I somehow got involved with, she's one of the only decent ones. So, everybody subscribe to her channel. All right. Continuing on with the wonderful state of Massachusetts. How long have we been live anyways? Story behind the name. Some more fun facts about Boston. Boston, like I said, it's one of the oldest cities in the United States, 390 years old. If the first public park opened in 1634, wow, that's a long time ago. Like, think about it. 300 years after 1634 was 1934, and that was a long time ago. 1634 was almost 400 years ago. The first public school system was founded in Boston. The first American lighthouse was built in Boston Harbor. The first sewing machine, guess what? Boston. The first subway, Boston. And the first telephone call ever happened in Boston.
Laura_Eclipse said F. MRSJ Mermaid said, hi there at Laura_Eclipse party popper.
Can you guys hear me okay? Hello, check. Hello.
Countryman
Check.
said, yes.
Okay, we're good now?
Countryman said, nothing happened.
Okay, we're good.
Said, I don't know why she said that.
Oh, it's okay. So, continuing on, those are some fun facts about Massachusetts. And I think we can either do food or famous people. What's your choice? What's your choice? Mrs. J, Countryman? You guys want to do food first or famous people? Once again, my website's on the screen. If you want to know more about me, Mr.G, go to the website right there, gxnetwork.live, and that has a bio about me and a background about different jobs and education that I have.
MRSJ Mermaid said, "Any is cool with me." Countryman said, "Let's do people before food. Why not?"
Okay, some of the most famous people from Massachusetts are Benjamin Franklin. He is on the cover on the $100 bill. Benjamin Franklin. You know, the Andrew Jackson is being replaced on the $20 bill. Can't remember by who. But yeah, Benjamin Franklin. He actually wasn't president, but he did draft the Declaration of Independence. So. Somebody else famous from Massachusetts is the one and only Jason Bourne. Jason Bourne, you know, is from South Boston, or from Massachusetts. Somebody else from Massachusetts is the one and only Matt Damon. Matt Damon is from Massachusetts. I know it's Ben Affleck, all right. Somebody else from Massachusetts, Marky Mark. He once beat up a little black boy and took his $2 or something, and then he once beat up an old Asian man with a bottle and blinded him. Yeah, this guy right here on the screen, he committed these violent acts in Boston, and then he goes and, you know, strikes it rich, becomes a big famous actor, right? And then he wants his record expunged. He's like, hey, I want my record erased because when I was a teenager, when I was 20 years old, I beat up people and said a bunch of racist stuff and got arrested and had to go to jail and blinded this guy. But now I'm rich and famous, so I want it erased. Talk about garbage, right? I mean, this guy, I'm not saying his name for a reason. But he's from Boston. He's also a piece of shit. Somebody else from Boston that's not a piece of shit is... Well, they're all pieces of shit. No. Someone else that's not a bad guy is... Conan O'Brien. Conan O'Brien is from
Mr.G.
Massachusetts.
And Keanu packages to 1170 New Wanu Avenue, PO Box 37305. Honolulu.
Somebody else from Massachusetts. The most famous person from Massachusetts is John F. Kennedy. And of course, his brother, who would have made an even better president, Robert F. Kennedy. Terrible, terrible assassination. I mean, terrible that he was assassinated while he was running for president. He would have easily became president, and he would have been a great president. You know, unlike any of them that we've ever seen before. It was horrible, you know, that his brother gets assassinated, but, you know, he gets assassinated as well. And there's no conspiracy by Robert Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy's assassination. It was just some crazy guy that wanted fame or murder, just an evil dude, you know.
Help Mr. G with a donation through Stream.
So yeah, very unfortunate. One of the best Americans we have. Somebody else, of course, Teddy Kennedy, also from Massachusetts. Another president from Massachusetts. A lot of people think he's from Texas because he owned the Texas Rangers for so long, and his son was born in Massachusetts as well. Neither of them are native Texans. George Herbert Walker Bush or George W. Bush. Neither of them are native Texans. Finally, last politician from Massachusetts is John Kerry. You know, former presidential candidate. Ran against George Bush in 2008, was it? No, 2004. Also, a lot of politicians. Somebody else from Massachusetts, might not know, John Cena is from Massachusetts. Somebody else. Oh, also another president from Massachusetts, John Adams. John Cena, you have to ruin everything. You know, I had all presidents in a row, and then you go and slip your smiling mug in there. Oh yeah, hey, can you see me? All right, continuing on.
Countryman.
So John Adams, also president
I
from.
remember in Virginia's class, we mentioned Virginia having more founding fathers than any other state. I would almost think Massachusetts is the second.
Yeah, I would agree, countryman. We can ask Google in a second. So Steve Carell, also from. We mentioned Benjamin Franklin, from the great state of Massachusetts. Who else? Chris Evans, also known as Thor, is from Massachusetts. I know he's Captain America. I don't watch those superhero movies. And same thing. Thor's the same thing as Captain America to me. Okay, somebody else from Massachusetts. Kurt Russell is from Massachusetts. Very forgettable actor. Somebody else from Massachusetts. This guy's a total jerk. Dennis Leary. How are those cigarettes working out for you, Dennis? You still smoke? You watching, Mr. Leary? All right, and last and certainly not least, Whitney Houston's husband, Bobby Brown, is from the great state of Massachusetts. So these were all very famous people from Massachusetts. Now, I'm not a famous person, and I'm not from Massachusetts, but I do have a website, and it does say a lot more about me. So if you're watching me and you want to know more about the guy teaching you here, especially if you don't know anything about me, then check out the website there, gxnetwork.live, and that will tell you more about me. Also, check out this classroom's Instagram page at Mr.G Livestream on Instagram. That's also on the screen right now too. So that's where I post daily updates on what the class is going to be covering, what state we're going to be covering, what president we're going to be covering, if there's a class schedule time change or anything like that. Or just pictures of my nice board here, which I will take the time to go and show you here. So today I have the University UMass Minutemen logo next to the Patriots logo. So as you can see, both logos are very similar. That's the old Patriots logo. They have an updated logo, but that's my preferred one. But it's so similar to the University UMass one. It's uncanny. And, I guess, they take a lot of pride in their history in the Revolutionary War with the Boston Tea Party, the Boston Massacre, and all the acts. So up here we have the state flag, and it actually has a Native American with his bow down. The bow down is a symbol of peace in the right hand as well. So yeah, so that's the flag. That's the coat of arms, which is on the flag of Massachusetts, which is a white flag. It's a completely white flag with the coat of arms here. And I already showed you that's the Harvard logo. Harvard is located in Princeton, Massachusetts, and it is the oldest school in the United States and the top school in the United States. I think it's something like the last 4 out of 5 presidents, or something like last 8 out of 10 presidents all came from Harvard. So yeah, all right. So those are famous people from Massachusetts. A lot of politicians. Now, quickly we'll go over some famous foods from Massachusetts. So first up we have scallops, the lovely, delicious scallops.
Boston Tea Party is just a funny story on its own, LOL. All it was this Ford company just trying to sell its tea, but the British were the ones who made them raise their taxes on it. So the company just stood there as their boats got ransacked by a bunch of drunks, ha ha ha.
Yeah, there's one of the most famous protests in the United States, which is the Boston Tea Party, countryman. A lot of things have changed since then. I mean, you can't say that they haven't. That was a protest back then. Protests back then it was fun and safe. I sound like JR, right? Fun. No, protests back then, they, the protesters, they dressed up as Native Americans and they jumped on the incoming imports of tea, English tea, and they dumped them all in the harbor. Nobody was hurt. There were no fires. There was no looting. There may have been slogans chanted, but it was symbolism. I'm sure some of them wanted to keep the tea, right? Some of them probably put some of it in their pockets. But others were like, get that out of your pocket. Throw it in the harbor, But those were protesters back then. Men had more pride in themselves back then. There wasn't as much random violence back then. There was lots of violence, but men had more honor and more respect for themselves and dignity, my opinion. All right, continuing on with famous foods.
Yup. There's no care for dignity nowadays.
So, scallops. Scallops aren't hard to cook. They're just hard to cook well. The proper sear is the biggest thing I try to teach cooks. You get them super dry, salt and pepper them right before you put them in the hot cast iron pan and get them nice and crispy and seared. Their golden brown crust is what sets these big,
shrimp is way better than scallops.
Sweet and plump scallops apart.
Yeah.
Along with their seasonal accoutrements and summer card plates, them with sweet corn, smoky bacon, and juicy tomatoes. In winter, they're paired with Brussels sprouts, duck confit, and pear puree.
MRSG Mermaid said, I like fried clams and that's about it.
Well, up next, Mrs. J, we have fried clam bellies. Now, fried clam bellies are excellent fried clams. They're available throughout the state, but arguably the best place to eat them is in view of the ocean. Max on the Pier provides them at the best spot. You want to try the clams whole with their bellies, at least once before chickening out and eating clam strips. With the waves of the sea crashing all around you, these clams are sourced locally on Cape Cod, that's where the wealthiest area is, and comes with fries, tartar sauce, coleslaw, and lemon. They can be pricey, but when they're this fresh, it's worth the splurge. Yummy. All right, something else that's popular is cider donuts. Now, cider donuts are handmade all day, every day throughout the fall. These apple cider infused cake donuts are tossed in cinnamon and sugar, and they sell by the thousands daily to the many ravenous fans. Atkins ships its beloved Appley delights across the country, so you can get these warm at the shop, or you can order them for your delivery wherever you may live. Something else, one of my favorite foods is popular in New England, is corned beef. Now, New York water is the key to the successful corned beef. Let's see. Salt, bay leaves, juniper berries, peppercorns, and chili pepper. It gives a delivery the wheat meekly. Slice it up on a locally made rye or pumpernickel bread and slather it with a spicy brown mustard and watch it fly out the door. Corned beef. I love me some corned beef. All right, what else do we have? Baked scaffed scrod. Now, baked stuffed scrod. If you're craving a mammoth piece of fish stuffed with more fish and drizzled with decadent lobster sauce, look for a restaurant that serves this kind of seafood. A homemade seafood stuffing features heavy hitters such as salmon, cod, and swordfish, that's what's stuffed inside it, which mingle with a shot of sherry, butter, leeks, cream, and thyme. They're packed inside a fillet of scrod, wrapped up, topped with Ritz crackers and panko bread, and then served with a dreamy lobster sauce. It's very expensive, but this is New England cuisine at its best. Okay, what up next we have, let's see if we got some of that Indian pudding. Yeah, here's some Indian pudding. You guys ever had Indian pudding? Reputed to be a popular dish among early American settlers, this humble corn custard is still on the menu. It's more than a century old. The dish consists of, one staffer told us, similar to sweet breakfast cereal or grits, cornmeal mingling with butter, brown sugar, and molasses, served warm with an almost pudding-like texture, or served with cold vanilla ice cream. It's not surprising that Indian pudding is still a much sought-after menu item at most restaurants today. All right, up next we have Irish soda bread. Now, Irish soda bread, selling bread for many years. The recipe is it's mixing the dough and soaking the raisins in water so they don't dry out. It's like, I don't know what it is really. It's like raisin bread, but it's like really dry, I guess. I don't know. This is Irish soda bread. Oh, I didn't even have the screen. Okay, so of course you can't have New England cuisine without New England clam chowder, right? So, New England clam chowder. Legal Foods, or Legal as it's known there, opened in 1950 in Cambridge, not far from Harvard, and it has become a New England institution, now counting dozens of outposts along the eastern seaboard. That's called Legal Seafoods. It's where you get the best New England clam chowder around. Now, initially we had done only fish chowder, but we tried an experiment with clam chowder and it went over well. As soon as we introduced it, I thought, boy, we didn't do that before. Today, the clam chowder features fresh clam, salt pork, potatoes, black cream, and a homemade fish stock that says that is the key.
You'd love it if it's made correctly at Mr.G Mermaid.
So, up next we have grilled blueberry muffins.
There's a right way to make it.
Now, you gotta trust the spot whose signature item is right in its name. New Englanders love a grilled blueberry muffin, which can be tough to find anywhere outside of New England. Pressed down on a griddle with a steak weight, dripping with butter, and slightly crisp and plush at once, the griddled blueberry muffin shop sells 4 types of blueberry muffins: original, gluten-free, bran, and coffee cake. And about a fourth of customers ordered them buttered, griddled, and served with even more butter. About 1,000 muffins are made fresh daily every week. All right, up next we have the linguiça cheese roll. A Portuguese family of 9 children composed the heart of the locally beloved Sunrise Bakery and Coffee Shop. My mom did it right, she said. I had all these children, we're going to rescue them for something, laughs co-owner Inez Pacheco. Her family has offered these top-selling linguiça cheese rolls since day one. 37 years ago, selling 50 dozen daily and twice that much on weekends.
You can send Mr.G Moses.
Sliced American cheese and local linguiça, a Portuguese sausage beloved in the area, mingle inside a sweet Portuguese roll. The grease from the linguiça flavors the whole dough, promises Pacheco. But nothing is better to cure a hangover than the linguiça cheese roll. And they drink a lot of alcohol in Massachusetts too. All right, up next, famous Massachusetts food is fish and chips. Natives of County Clare, Ireland, run this authentic Irish pub. Oh, there's so many Irish in Massachusetts. Actually, has the highest density of Irish people of anywhere else in the United States. 1 out of every 4 people in Massachusetts are Irish. Carrying on, though. Fresh cod delivered daily is dunked in a simple batter of milk, butter, flour, salt, and pepper, then fried to order in vegetable oil and wrapped snugged in the Cambridge Chronicle, a free local paper. Served with pickle-studded homemade tartar sauce, fat lemon wedges, and a clutch of house-made French fries, it is divine. Manager John Blake swears by the traditional newspaper wrapping. It keeps the flavor together before it sleeps out. I'm from Ireland. Ha 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 ha. Okay, continuing on.
The new merchant.
Shit, I didn't even have that screen up.
https://merch.com/mrg_live.
All right, up next we have the steak tips. Steak tips. So, 1 out of 3 tickets read steak tips at the Greenhouse World Fired Pub in Minden, Massachusetts. Owner John McCarthy proudly serves bits of steak a couple different waves of this former greenhouse, but by far the most popular option is the Jameson steak tips. Basically, a bowl with blue cheese, mashed potatoes, a pound of Jameson steak around them, sweet Jameson whiskey sauce poured over the top, and crispy onion rings. Jameson is part of the steak marinade, and more of the Irish whiskey goes into sauce or butter and brown sugar, which is reduced to a syrup and poured over the whole shebang. Wow, that looks delicious. And I'm a vegetarian. No, not really. I'm not really a vegetarian. Just on the weekends. Okay, oysters. Up next we have oysters. You guys like oysters? Well, those who want oysters tend to want a whole lot of them. And with good variety to choose from, Island Creek Oyster Bar is connected to the nearby Ponus Oyster Farm, and it is renowned for its slightly sweet and delicate and lightly briny banals. The raw bar features 14 oysters plus 2 crudos, a half Maine lobster, a towering shellfish platter for 4, clams and shrimp cocktail for good measure. Sure, there's a menu full of hot food too, with chicken, lobster, and steak, among other goodies, but shellfish lovers tend to park at the raw bar with a platter. So yeah, you know, oysters, they're generally eaten at a bar, at an oyster bar. All right, up next we have something that looks really interesting that I would like to try. It's called pastéis de nata. This right here is an egg custard in phyllo dough. It's a Portuguese delicacy widely seen in New Bedford, Massachusetts, which has a huge Portuguese population. Inez Pacheco says her brother Joe Amaral spends his entire day working on the shell for these tarts, only to watch them disappear once he's done. Lots of buttery, paper-thin layers are key to the base, into which a sweet, creamy, and vanilla-laced custard similar to creme brulee is poured. Baked and served warm, these tarts have fans of all ages. Mothers will often spoon out the center and feed them to their babies. What? Weird. Alright, continuing. Here you go, baby. Here is some creamy vanilla center. Alright, wow, it's raining hard. It's like a Boston rainstorm out here in Hawaii. Hope the kitties are okay. So, you guys hear that rain? Wow, it never rains that hard. It's pouring here in Hawaii. Alright, coming up next, we have Boston baked beans. Those who grew up in Boston baked beans might recall a syrupy sweet substance poured over them, who cannot be avoided at all costs. Damn, it's pouring down. Chef owner Scott Hurrett was determined to take them to a different level, he says, by braising short ribs and ham hocks in great white northern beans, cooking them for hours with plenty of garlic, veal, and chicken stock, and a touch of molasses for color and a hint of sweetness. He makes local marvels at just how good the classic dish can be. Alright, just a couple more things here. We have maple sugar candy. Many locals grew up having their trees taped to the maple syrup or visiting local sugar shacks to observe the process of making syrup. Super sweet maple leaf shaped maple sugar candy is part of the experience and is best procured from a place that makes its own. The North Haiti Sugar Shack was started by two teenage brothers who drove their mom nuts by boiling syrup right in their house for years until they built a shack behind their folks' place, said Michelle, wife to brother Joe. Nowadays, the couple sells creamy maple candy and syrup year-round, and they often a full brunch with plenty of pancakes, of course, on November and December weekends. I'm ordering some of these candy, by the way. Whoa. Oh, never mind. I was just checking the thing, man. It's crazy the amount of rain that's happening here right now. Alright, I think we just have one more food product. I'll show you guys the rain in a second. Alright. So I thought this was a Hawaiian thing, but apparently they originated in New England, malasadas. So malasadas are yeasty, sugar-dusted Portuguese donuts of an awesome size. They're not that big in Hawaii. Like two donuts put together. Fat malasadas are made with plenty of butter, sugar, flour, and a bit of yeast. And staffers sell about 400 of them on weekends in 4 hours. Okay, so that was lovely foods. Well, I don't know what steamers are, though. What are steamers? Steamers, okay. Fried oysters and lobster rolls among them. Oh, okay. Okay. But lots of folks ask for steamers, which they call steamers. Soft shell clams sold steamed in their shells with warm butter and a cup of broth. Owner Don Reeves sells thousands of pounds of these every year, and he recommends you pluck them from their shells, dip them in the broth by their necks to clean off any extra sand, dunk them in butter, and then down the hatch. So they have extra sand on there too. So guys, there's like a big time hurricane flash flood storm. This is the biggest storm of the year happening right now here in Hawaii. I'll get you guys, show you guys right now. See, these kind of storms here, I've lived here long enough, they only last a few minutes and then they stop, but they rain hard for those few minutes. So I'll show you here. Like, damn, I can't believe it's raining so hard. Wow. This is the hardest I've ever seen it rain at this apartment. So you see that? That's my front door right now. Wow, that's crazy. Alright.
Mr.G mermaid said, "Hail here."
Yeah, I'm not used to it being this loud. It's crazy. Well, we have been in a drought here in Hawaii. And it is the rainy season, but it just hasn't been raining. But yeah, it's pouring down. I can't believe how hard it's raining. That shuts the neighbors up about water dripping.
Said, "Rain is good."
Yeah, it is. We really do need the rain. So, I guess that's about it about Massachusetts here. We went over famous foods. We went over famous people. I showed you the flag. We had a good little discussion about Massachusetts. Tomorrow is Connecticut. All this week we're going to be learning about New England. So Connecticut on Tuesday, Rhode Island on Wednesday, New Hampshire on Thursday, and Maine on Friday. You're welcome, Mrs. J. It was my pleasure.
Countryman and chat.
So, last shall be first and first shall be last. That's something to think about. Because somebody that they may seem like they're first, they're not first. But somebody like me who puts in the work, puts in the effort, and you guys as well, coming to this class, you will benefit from from watching me and attending this class and participating in this class, you will benefit. It will make your life better. You will learn more and you will be a better person after watching this stream, after attending this class. You can't say the same thing for 90% other streamers. You really can't. But you will gain something by coming here, and you will gain something by participating and being involved in this community as well. So, with that being said, I'm going to end it with the Massachusetts State Song. And like I said, tomorrow we have a great class on Connecticut planned. So it's the same time tomorrow. I was a little late today, so I'll try not to be as late tomorrow. Once again, I've been meaning to do gaming streams and IRL and this and that. But those are all extra credit. This, you can guarantee I will be here Monday through Friday. And we will have a good class for you each day. And so that is a guarantee. So everything else I do is extra credit. But you can guarantee that I will be here. And I had a really great week of teaching last week. Every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Monday we learned about Georgia. Tuesday we learned about West Virginia. Wednesday we learned about Delaware. Thursday we learned about New Jersey. And Friday we learned about New York. Things are going well. Things are going well. If you look at the way this class looked a few weeks ago, we didn't have the professional lights. We didn't have as many good graphics. It didn't look as well. Things are going well. They're going in the right direction. And you guys are all on board early too. So share this stream with somebody. Somebody mentions teaching, learning online, distance learning, distance education. Tell them about my class. You right now, there's no charge. And thanks everybody for being here, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy the Massachusetts State Song. Also, don't forget to join the Instagram, the classroom Instagram. It's on the screen right now, at Mr.G Livestream. And I'll see you guys later. One thing that Massachusetts is known for, besides being the longest state, is also inventing Dunkin' Donuts too. So, with that being said, I'm going to play this slideshow and play the Massachusetts State Song.
Said, hell yeah, MRSJ Mermaid.
All right, thank you, Countryman. Thank you, Mrs. J. Everybody have a good night.
All hail to Massachusetts, the land of the free and the brave. For Bunker Hill and Charlestown and the flag we love to wave. For Lexington and Concord and the shot heard round the world. All hail to Massachusetts, we'll keep her flag unfurled. She stands upright for freedom's light that shines from sea to sea. All hail to Massachusetts, our country 'tis of thee. All hail to grand old Bay State, the home of the bean and the cod, where pilgrims found a landing and gave their thanks to God. A land of opportunity in the good old USA, where men live long and prosper and people come to stay. Don't sell her short, but learn to court her industry and strive. All hail to grand old Bay State, the land of Pilgrim's Pride.
All right, everybody. Aloha. Have a good one. With cats.